Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jenna. This is my book brain playlist where I talk about all the books that I have read and do kind of like a review and overview of what the book is about and if I liked it or not. And today we are finally going to be reviewing book 1 of the Chaos Walking trilogy, The Knife of Never Letting Go. This is the book that the Chaos Walking movie is based on, which came out a year or two ago. I did a review of the movie in a previous video, so I'll link that one below for you to check out also. But yes, I finally got to review this book for you. It is instantly a 10 out of 10. Everything about it is good, and like the writing is interesting. It's like a pretty different story in a way that like it's like kind of a coming of age story, but it isn't your typical like this person discovers that they have like a magical power or that they're like some important long lost princess or something like that. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a different feel to a coming of age story like that. And yeah, so I'll just read the cover on the back just to give you guys an idea of what it's like. So this is just the back. It says, Prentice Town isn't like other towns. Everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts in an overwhelming, never-ending stream of noise. Just a month away from the birthday that will make him a man, Todd and his dog Manchi, whose thoughts Todd can hear too, whether he wants to or not, stumbles upon an area of complete silence. They find that in a town where privacy is impossible, something terrible has been hidden, a secret so awful that Todd and Manchi must run for their lives. But how do they escape when your pursuers can hear your every thought? So yeah, it's takes place on a planet somewhere out away from Earth. So at the start of the book, it sets the scene of it's this town full of men and all the women have died from a sickness. Todd and his dog, they live with these two guys, Ben and Killian, and they're his adoptive dads because his parents both died from a sickness that these aliens put out when they got to the planet, which caused everybody to hear everybody's thoughts. And it's like a constant stream of thoughts that you can hear all the time of everybody and what they're thinking. And yeah, so it's like the town itself is like super loud because everybody's thoughts are just like pouring into your own brain. So the book starts off with Todd and Manchi walking through the swamp. Manchi is the dog. And they find this block of silence within the noise of the planet. So they try to go to figure out what it is. And I think they end up not figuring it out the first time. And then they go back and they find a girl who has like appeared on this planet, and Todd is like totally floored because in his mind there is Prentice Town, which is the town they live in, that is full of men because all the women died from this sickness that the aliens spread out into the world. And he's never like seen a girl in real life or anything, so he's just like, what do I do with this information? So then he goes back to his parents and they tell him that like, you need to leave because the mayor is coming for you because he knows that you saw a girl out in the swamp and it's gonna be bad. Like, they don't really explain anything. He has a lot of questions, but they're like, you just have to leave right now because they're gonna come and they're gonna kill her and they are going to hurt you probably or kill you too. So just go out. Here is a map that we have of the rest of the settlements on this planet, which Todd thought their one little town out in the swamp was it, of like 200 men. So he's like, hold on, there's like all these other towns and people out here. He has all these unanswered questions, and his uncle or his stepdad or whatever you want to call him says just like, take your mom's diary that she wrote for you when you were a baby, and that's all we can really do for you right now. Like, you just need to leave because the mayor is literally at their doorstep trying to break in and get the girl from them. So him and the girl Viola take off into the swamp with Manchi, and there is this crazy preacher from the town that happens to like know what's going on, and he heard Viola was in the swamp too and tried to find her, and he comes after them and like attacks them, and Todd has to have one of his major inner conflicts that he has to deal with of like, do I kill this guy because he's attacking me? Anyways, they get in a fight. Todd ends up not killing him because that's a big part of his thing, is like, I can't just kill people, which is like, I feel pretty normal, but it's not normal in this book, I guess. But yeah, his whole thing is like, I can't kill a person. Anyways, so they get through the swamp and they go and find Viola's spaceship that crashed. She came there with as kind of like a scout from the main ship that's coming later in like a few months. Their scout ship came, and it was her and her parents and probably a couple other people, and it crash landed and everybody else died except for her. So her parents had died on this spaceship crash, and so she gets a couple things from the spaceship, and then just like they leave and continue on to Haven. They need to get to Haven is because Viola needs to warn her other ship that is full of like 300,000 people or some huge amount of people not to come to the planet, because from what Todd knows, all the women got this disease from the aliens, and like it killed all the women. So basically he thinks Viola's gonna die, all the women on the ship are gonna die, so she's like, I need to go and tell them like, you cannot land on this planet. But there's no like radio towers to do that except for in Haven, so that's why they have to go there. So eventually they come to the second town, which is a little ways through the swamp. They come to Far Branch, which is the first town before Prentice Town, and this couple helps them out and gets them through the town, and Todd informs the town like, there's the mayor of Prentice Town is coming with like an army of men to attack you, and I don't know, he doesn't really know the whole reason or anything, but he's like, there's this army of men coming after us, you need to like protect your town and or like run away. And nobody really jumps on board with that, and because they don't trust him because he's from Prentice Town, and there is a law that you eventually find out about it later in the book, that any man that comes from Prentice Town has to be killed. Like there's like a death penalty if you leave Prentice Town as a man. So he gets a pass because he's not technically a man yet. He's like a boy still for like another 2 months or something, or like 25 days. And yeah, so the people in Far Branch kind of are like, okay, well, we'll like try to, you know, defend ourselves. So Todd and Violet leave Far Branch as the army is like coming in, and just watch the town like basically get totally obliterated by this army, and like all these men join the army from Far Branch that are like sympathizers with the cause of the Mayor Prentice. The mayor in the book of Prentice Town is called Mayor Prentice because the town is named after him. Anyways, yeah, so Far Branch is totally screwed. So throughout their journey, they go through a couple different settlements. They have some more confrontations with Aaron, who is following them, because he, from Todd's original thought, is that Aaron sees the girl Viola as a sacrifice. So Todd is saving Viola from Aaron and becoming a sacrifice and getting killed. So they keep going on throughout all these different towns and stuff, all the way to this Haven town that is supposedly at the end of this big road where like the original settlers first arrived, is the town of Haven. These townsfolk are starting to hear a rumor of an army coming. So then they start noticing that like there's refugees on the road and stuff. Closer to the end of the book, Todd and Viola are walking along, and then they come across one of the aliens that live on the planet that Todd thought were completely wiped off the face of the earth. And these aliens are called Spackle, and he goes and he attacks and kills this Spackle, which is interesting because a whole part of Todd's personality is that he can't kill somebody. And so he's like very traumatized that he killed this spackle, but he, he's like never seen one before. He thinks they're all like dangerous, and they had these spackle wars way back when and wiped out the whole group of them. They blamed the spackle for releasing this germ that caused the noise, when in reality that isn't how it actually worked. The noise is just there all the time. So he kills the spackle, and Viola is like absolutely traumatized because you can hear what the spackle is thinking, because you can hear its noise. And it's not really dangerous, it's just kind of like startled. And anyways, they get in a big fight about it, and Todd kills the spackle. And then right after he does that, all of a sudden Aaron, the evil, crazy, gross, slimy, creepy priest, is there and attacks Todd, knocks him out, and stabs him in the back, and takes Viola and kidnaps her. So then when Todd wakes up, he has to pull the knife out of his back, and he has some fancy bandages from like Viola's special medicine stuff that he like slaps on himself, and he like pulls himself together, and he goes and follows Viola to wherever Aaron is taking her. Todd eventually catches up with Aaron, and him and Manchi make a plan that Manchi is going to like take a stick that's on fire and run way up into the forest ahead of Aaron, so that Aaron thinks, well, there's like a campfire over there, I'm sure that's Todd. So that's the plan. Manchi runs up and starts this little fire. Aaron sees it and leaves Viola tied up in the camp that he has made, and follows the dog fire up into the trees. And Todd comes along in this boat that they found in this abandoned village and rescues Viola. And of course, the dog comes back, and Aaron follows him back, and they're just about to escape, steps away from escaping into the boat and being safe. And Aaron grabs onto Todd's legs and like is pulling him out of the boat, and Viola's pulling him into the boat, and the dog jumps to save Todd, and the dog attacks Aaron, and then the boat is floating away down the river a little bit, and they can't go back and save the dog, and Aaron kills their dog. He just kills him, and I'm okay with it now. But when I read about it, every time I've read this book, I think I've read it 3 times, and every time I read this book, it's the worst part, and I know that it's coming, and just don't get too emotionally attached and you'll be fine. Because I got emotionally attached, and now here I am, regretting it. Anyways, that part really sucks. And it's so sad. Anyways, so the boat takes them off down the river, and because Todd got stabbed in the back, he like is sick and like coughing up all this gross gunk, and like hasn't eaten in a couple days, and is like almost dead. So he like passes out on the boat, and when he wakes up, he is in this new town where Viola has stopped the boat for them and found a doctor, and they've healed up Todd, and so he's all fine. But then the doctor is like, oh, you need to, come talk to the elders about this whole army that's supposedly coming to, take over the whole place. Todd's like, okay, like, just give me like a couple seconds to like wake up. And so him and Viola go for a little bit of a walk, and all of a sudden they hear, like, Todd hears this familiar song in the noise of the town, and he realizes that it's Ben, and he runs across this bridge, and Ben is hiding in the trees on the other side, and it's like super awesome because Ben and Killian were kind of trying to divert the mayor and stall him from going after Todd. So Todd just assumed that like they were both dead. It does turn out that Killian did die, but Ben managed to escape and followed them all the way to where they meet up just now. And it's like so nice because like Todd has just been like winging it and has been on his own with like nobody he can trust besides Viola, who also doesn't know what's going on. And he has all these like unanswered questions, and the mayor is like coming after them. And he's like, why does the mayor need me? And why does he need Viola? And he has all these questions. So they meet up with Ben, but Ben is a man from Prentisstown, so he is a criminal in the eyes of every single person on this planet that is not from Prentisstown. The doctor comes back and finds him and is with all these other guys, and is like, well, we're gonna have to kill Ben because he's from Prentisstown. But then luckily, kind of, the army is all of a sudden like entering the town. So then the doctor is like, you know what, screw it, just like go away. Like, we don't have time to deal with you, fine, leave. So then Ben and Violet and Todd and Manchi, oh my god. Manchi like died, so he's not there. Oh my god, I hate myself. Okay. Well, that was nice. Anyways, Todd and Violet and Ben run off into the forest to escape from the army. And that part is like really sad too. Like the author does a good job of like making Manchi's death realistic, because like Todd keeps like forgetting that Manchi, like I just did, Todd keeps forgetting that Manchi is missing. Like when he wakes up, he looks down at the foot of the bed expecting to see his dog there. The dog's not there, which is very realistic and sad. So anyways, Ben, Violet, Todd run off, escape the army for a while, and then Todd's like, okay, you need to like tell me everything that you have not had a chance to tell me when I was escaping. So he finally gets Ben to answer all these questions about like what is the mayor's mission and what happened to all the women in our town and all these unanswered questions. So it turns out that these settlers came from Earth, landed on this planet, and within like a day or two, the noise hit them. All the men could hear each other's thoughts, and the women couldn't. They just had like silence. They can hear the men's thoughts, but the men can't hear anything from them. So he describes it that it was just chaos for the first while, because everybody's like trying to figure out what to do, because you have no privacy anymore, and all these guys were just like freaking out about it. So they ended up splitting off, all these different groups going different directions from Haven, and the original Prentisstown was called New Elizabeth. So it was like, you know, going fine there, but then after a while, some of the men in the town started to become resentful and blame the women for causing all these problems with society, I'm assuming. And so anyways, they end up killing all the women in town and all the men that sympathize with the women. The reason that Ben and Killian don't get killed is because Todd's mom kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was too late for her to escape, so she just gave Todd to them to look after. So they didn't fight against the other men because they felt it was more important that they look after Todd and protect him as he grows up. So anyways, yeah, all the women in the town are killed, and there is a few people that escape so that the rest of the word of what has happened in this town spreads to everywhere else. And that's why no man from Prentisstown is allowed to leave Prentisstown, because they're all criminals and they've all murdered all these women. So that's a plot twist for Todd, because he thought that his parents just died because they got sick. And his dad actually did die. According to the diary, his dad actually did die before all this stuff happened. So it was just his mom, but she just got killed by all these other crazy men. So that's nice. And he also finds out from Ben that your initiation into manhood means that you have to kill somebody. And it has to be obviously somebody else from the town because there's no other people around the town. So Todd's like, oh my god, everything's starting to kind of piece together. All these guys that just happened to go missing over the years when these other teenagers turned into men. Interesting. So that's great. After Ben has a chance to kind of clear the air on things, they all of a sudden hear these hoofbeats, and of course the mayor's son is riding up on them with a horse and is gonna like kill them or capture them and stuff. Typical. Just when you think everything's gonna be okay for a little bit at least, you know. So then Ben is like, I'll hold him off. You and Viola need to still get to Haven and warn them about this army that's coming, because they should have enough people there that they can defend the town, and it should all be okay. Like, just have hope that it's gonna be fine. So they leave Ben, and Todd, like, it's like really sad because Todd is like, you're going to be killed. You don't have any weapons. Yeah, they like have to go their separate ways forever, and that's kind of sad. So then Todd and Viola just run off. They come across Haven finally after another day, and it's just at the bottom of this waterfall. But then, of course, Aaron, the crazy priest guy, is coming down the freaking river in a boat. Todd and Viola try to run away and just get to Haven before, but they can't outrun him. So they kind of try to hide behind the waterfall in this cavern that has been turned into a chapel, like back inside a cave in the waterfall. And Aaron, of course, finds them, and he tells them, like, he tells Todd that Aaron is Todd's man that he needs to kill to become a man himself. And Aaron knows this, and he's like cool with it. Aaron also is a big supporter of Mayor Prentice, and is like, Todd needs to kill me because he needs to become a man. Because if he doesn't become a man, the mayor's army is not complete. And if one of the men falls, then the whole army is going to fall apart. So, yeah, Todd is the last innocent boy of Prentice Town, and therefore he wants Todd to kill him so that the mayor's manifesto of I'm going to take over this planet can become true, and all the men will be under his control, and they will all have had to kill somebody to become a man, and the mayor can just sweep in and just take over the whole place, and it can be anarchy. One of the things that Aaron knows is that Todd would not have been able to kill him, and Aaron was going to kill Ben to make Todd angry enough to kill Aaron. Todd, of course, fights Aaron. They get in this big fight to protect Viola from him, and Aaron is like cool with it because he wants Todd to kill him so that his destiny is fulfilled and all that stuff. But at the very last moment, it ends up being Viola that takes the knife and stabs it through Aaron's neck all the way to the other side, which is pretty good, because if Viola killed Aaron, Todd didn't, and therefore his destiny is not fulfilled, and he doesn't have to kill a man. He did kill that spackle, but that's not really included. So then Aaron is like dying, and he's like, you know, totally angry because it had to be Todd that killed him so that Todd would become a man and join the army and all that stuff. But it was Viola, so she kind of screwed things up for him, which was ideal. And after that, you know, they're all like, Viola's like totally messed up because she's like, I just killed somebody. So they get out of the cave, they're trying to get themselves together. Viola is like, I just killed somebody. And then all of a sudden she gets shot in the stomach because the mayor's son has showed up on his horse to get them to come back and join the army with him. And of course, Todd fights him and manages to scare the horse that the guy is riding on. So the horse runs off with the mayor's son, and then Viola is like bleeding out because she's shot in the stomach. So he picks her up and runs all the way into Haven, and there is like nobody, like the town is like a ghost town. There's not a soul in sight, and he runs all the way to the town square and is like calling like, help me, and there's like nobody around. But then, just when you least expect it, the mayor apprentice shows up around the corner of a building and has taken over the town with like absolutely no resistance, so that's nice. And he tells Todd, welcome to New Prentice Town. While Viola is still like, bleeding out, and it just leaves that cliffhanger for you. So that's lovely. Now I'm just gonna go over a couple of the things that I liked in the books. Specifically, I liked how you get a real sense of the characters without it being like blatantly described to you in detail, but like, oh, this person is like this and this is how they dress. It's just mostly like the way they talk and their actions kind of give you a good picture in your head of what they're like. For example, that like Aaron, the crazy priest, is like an absolute like slimy, disgusting, creepy, crazy, gross person. And the mayor himself is like this calm, cool, dangerous person. And Todd is, I don't know, I really feel like you get to know Todd, and he's like relatable a lot, because like nothing he does is right. Like he's always screwing up, and he's always like, oh my god, like stop being such an idiot, Todd. Like, he talks to himself and stuff, or like thinks to himself. So he's like, can you get your crap together, because like stuff is going haywire here and you need to like get it together. And like, like anytime that he like cries about something, it says like, it'll have, and then my eyes well up with tears, and then in brackets it'll have shut up, like as in like, I know like boys are so tough and they're not supposed to cry, so like shut up about it. So that's kind of funny. And there's one thing that's kind of unique in the book too, is that they have like, this is how the noise is in the book. That's how it looks written out. They also have like different spellings for words, I think, to kind of show that Todd doesn't know how to read, and also kind of give you a sense of kind of like, I don't know, I guess their accent. Another thing to note that is important, particularly for Todd and probably a lot of this men that aren't crazy on the planet, is him and Viola, because Todd can't read, he lets Viola read his mom's diary a bit to him, and afterwards he's like, it's sad, so they're both sad, and he's like, I can totally understand what you were thinking without having to hear your thoughts, which is important, because that's the one big huge reason that the men went crazy, is because they were like, you know everything about us, all these women know all our secrets and everything about us and exactly what we're thinking all the time, and we know nothing about them. So that's important that Todd is like, understands like, I don't need to hear your thoughts to know who you are or what you're thinking, in general sense, like normal people do in our world. There was one thing that I kind of didn't really like about the book. Overall, it was like hard to pick something I didn't like, but the one thing that stood out is that when Todd kills the spackle, it's very out of character for him, because up until that point he is very like, I can't kill anybody. That's my whole thing, is like, I couldn't kill anybody. And then all of a sudden he sees the spackle and just kills him. I think the author should have like included a bit more of like what he was feeling, because all it kind of says in the book is like, my noise goes red. So his like rage just like fills his head, and he just like goes nuts and kills this spackle. But it should have been described better than that, because like his noise goes red at other times in the book without him like killing anybody. So that's kind of the only thing, is I wish they would have described like more detail of like how he was feeling before he killed the alien. And also I wish they would have not like had to kill the dog, because in every movie or book there has to be a dog that dies all the time. So that's nice. Other than that though, I would recommend you still read it, because it's hard to grasp the full picture from just my retelling of it, because I probably left out a couple things, because like it is a significant book. There is a lot of like adventure in it, trying to get to Haven, so you should probably still read it, even though you kind of like already know how it's gonna go. Yeah, just to get the full effect. Hopefully you like it as much as I do. The next book in the series is The Ask and the Answer. That's kind of a cool point too, when I was saying about how they spell different things differently. Instead of question, they use ask. So there you have it, The Knife of Never Letting Go, Book 1, Chaos Walking. Excellent book. Couldn't say enough good things about it. Yeah. It's like one of those books where you're like, I want to like be there without like having the stress of what's going on. But like, you know, it's just like, you feel like you're just like in the book. So if you want to subscribe to keep up on the Book Brain videos, and also I do gaming videos, so if you're interested in watching those, I have a gaming playlist. And leave a comment if you have read the book, plan to read the book, what you liked about it if you've already read it. I would love to discuss it with you in the comments, and leave a like and also comment and subscribe. Thanks.